Alrighty.
Try not to limp.
Christian, here's your new present.
No way.
The new gravel machine. Here's Gabe. Got some real nice customized pieces.
I love it. This thing's rad.
Yeah,
First gravel bike.
we're really happy with how they've come along, and
Hey, playing that one out.
nice custom gear.
Cool.
You ready?
Let's go for a ride. Yeah.
Yeah. Alright.
Good morning, mate.
How's it going, Alfie? Yeah, we are on the bikes.
All good, mate. We have a first episode of Ridecast, which is I'm pretty excited. I know this is not going to be perfect by any means. It's our first test,
Yeah.
but I'm excited. We of course wanted to do something different, and I truly believe the best conversations happen while riding on a bike. So
And I agree with that. And like you said, we've been thinking of this for a while, and yeah, we are going to make it happen. And we've got a solid guest here today to join us,
Liz,
so we can have a good chat as we enjoy the bikes.
Yeah, we want to welcome you guys, the one and
Yeah,
only
Christian,
Craig.
look at you, looking
Yes,
all
sir.
prim and proper.
Yeah, get to break in my new Alcavi bike,
Nice.
the new gravel bike. So I'm pumped.
Nah, thanks for being on, joining us. You're
Yeah.
our first guest and first episode.
Yeah, I mean,
No pressure.
this is the pilot, right? The pilot episode. So I'm guessing, yeah, this will be cool. So
Yeah, no, thanks for joining us. I know it's a Monday after a race. You're a little bit rusty from the trip, so yeah, thank you for making the effort. We appreciate. And I wanted to start off asking the both of you guys. Obviously, you guys been working together for the past 2 years. Obviously, if you can give us a little recap on how the 2 years have been, and kind of your perspective, Aldon, and your perspective, Christian. If you could explain us how the 2 years have been.
yeah, I'd say some more challenging times than anything. Injury played a big part of it. Injury that didn't want to heal, but Aldon was super patient with me and very encouraging through it all, and we did what we could. Yeah, I mean, we made it 10 rounds into the first year and until that injury happened, and I felt like stuff was starting to click and take off and get better each weekend, and unfortunately, injuries play a big part of it. But I mean, the results don't show, I guess, the past 2 years, but Aldon was always there and pushing me and trying to make me better at the track each day. And while I was dealing with this elbow, it's a tough situation to be in. He was trying to tiptoe, when to push me, when not to. And I feel like he did a good job of that, and forever thankful for sure.
Great.
No, well, thanks, Christian. Yeah, I think in this sport, everybody knows that injuries are really, really difficult. I mean, the sport's hard enough when you are fit and strong. So, but if I go back to the beginning, obviously you showed your true potential in the off-season training, and I think all of us were blown away with what you could do, and we were all excited for the season to start. I think the season didn't start as well as what we would have liked, considering what potential we knew you had. I mean, you had a tip over in the first practice. Well,
Yeah, I kind of hit my head a little bit.
and that started, so you were a little bit sort of behind right out of the gate. But I do believe that you were making progress, and as we know too, it is a stacked field, and a lot hinges on starts. And if you get a bad start, it's a struggle to get through the group. It's tough, but I was happy with how you were building back up until injury. And unfortunately, yes, that did set us back. And it is difficult to navigate how to get through riding training when you haven't got something. And obviously, you got to have multiple
Yeah,
surgeries.
5 surgeries. So
Jeez.
Has it been 5?
5 surgeries on my elbow, and still dealing with soreness and stuff, and
Yeah.
having to adjust riding plans, training, not being able to do some stuff in the gym. It's frustrating for sure, but like I said, he was always positive with it. Whenever I would be negative with myself or
Yeah.
It seemed like I wouldn't believe in myself. He would snap me out of that real quick. And, you know, the experience he's had with multiple riders over the years, you kind of just got to, you shut your mouth and just trust what he has to say.
Were you excited for your first boot camp?
Yeah, I was. It was fun. Like I obviously knew all the riders that I'm training with, and it was a good crew. Some hard days on the bicycles for sure.
Yep.
Some days I got dropped, but I learned a lot and grew with the team. So, man, it was a fun 2 years, but also a frustrating 2 years at the same time.
Yeah, and it's amazing how quickly the time goes. You know, how quick a season, when you're in it, just moves along.
So going back to what you were saying, obviously, you've dealt with injuries throughout your career. And what I admire the most from you is that, in a way, you had like 2 chapters of your racing career.
Yeah.
Before going into deep, can you tell us, mate, I had no idea Christian dads used to race.
Oh, yes.
And I was telling Christian, so way back when in Ecuador, we didn't get TV coverage, so we'll try to record as much as we could.
Yeah.
So I'll watch like the 98, 90, or 96, 97 season in the year like 2000, 2001, because that's the only, and obviously Christian dad raced there.
Yeah.
Number 17 Honda of Troy.
Yeah.
And can you take us back to your childhood, that you remember going to the races, or
Yeah.
how was that?
Yeah, growing up, obviously I went to all the Supercrosses. My dad raced. He's won a couple Supercrosses, and I wasn't a big fan of it at first. It wasn't until later on, like around 10 years old, is where I was like, all right, I want to race this and get serious. So a little bit of a late bloomer on that side of it, but
Is that kind of what you intend with your kids bringing to the race? Or
yeah,
that
no,
just
yes
happened?
and no. Like, I just want them to experience it. I'm not going to push my kids to race. They've kind of seen me a lot of injuries, and maybe that scares them a little bit. But yeah, growing up, for sure, just going around it, I think it's fun for a family. It's fun for just the experiences, you know, supercrosses and motocrosses, and getting to travel around with your family is for sure special.
Yeah, I think that's one of the best. I'm not a dad yet, but it's one of the best ways to teach your kids by example, and obviously going through the ups and downs. Now,
Yeah.
you have a little bit of a BMX background in you?
Yeah. So I'm similar to like growing up, I got to the expert level, won a couple of races. I think I was national number 3 at one point. So
you're racing nationals?
Yep. So I did the Grands.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So I have some experience in that part, but yeah, I turned to dirt bikes pretty quick. And
how
went
was
that
that
way.
transitioning through like teenage years? Like, when did you decided to go pro and take it all serious?
Yeah, I mean, around like 16, 17 is when you know it's, all right, you either got it or you don't. I feel like I had some talent and got some opportunities and took it. But like I said, like a lot of injuries played a part.
Yeah.
I was out for a lot of that time, and more of a late bloomer in that part. Like, I didn't start winning until I was, later in my 20s.
Because you get your first pro contract. You start to get ready for the 09 or 2010
season.
You get injured
Yeah.
in 09.
Yeah, I broke my back at the end of 09.
Is
And,
it as scary of what they say that you...
Yeah, I still remember that day pretty vividly, laying on the ground at the test track and not feeling my legs. It's pretty scary.
Jeez.
Having to rebuild myself. Luckily, I made a full recovery, but a year off the bike, and man, it's frustrating for sure. But I grew a lot, and like I said, just
How were you able to like overcome such a shocker like that?
I think being young. I mean,
in that age.
if it were to happen later, I for sure would have scared me more. But being 18, the only thing you know is dirt bikes at that time, and that's all you want to do. So that was my motivation. Was like, I just want to keep riding, want to get back to where I was. So, like I said, a year off the bike and made my pro debut in 2011. So,
How did you like leading that 450 main? I think that's kind of the breakthrough year, I believe, or the breakthrough race where you jump on the outdoor
yeah. So yeah,
450. Yeah, I've done my research.
Yeah, Texas, 2011. I led for 15 minutes. I that was my rookie season, and led some good guys, Chad and Dungy and them, and ended up 5th. So I think that's where my name first popped up in the results.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've had some good rides, some bad ones. But like, yeah, injuries for sure kind of set me back.
To cover like the first chapter of your career, you kind of hang up the boots.
Yep.
What year was that, and why was that decision made?
2013, I got told I wasn't going to have a ride. I was getting married, wanted to start a family. So I thought it was a good idea to go get a 9-to-5 job.
Did you get a 9-to-5?
Yeah, I did. I went and got a construction job with my father-in-law, and got put to work and realized real quick that dirt bikes were a lot more fun. and knew I was still young enough at the time to try to race still. So
were you active at that time, like training or
I
riding?
would ride every once in a while, not a lot of training, but still had the fire inside to keep racing. And after about a year and a half of real life, I call it, construction, decided to make a comeback and try one more time.
And then chapter number 2 of your career starts. And did you, when you finished, when you decided to retire at first, did you ever thought about winning a championship again, or
No.
was that the end of it?
No, I mean, I think the first chapter, like, had some good races, but there was never like, hey, I'm going to win, you know? So when I stepped away, I gained that fire again of kind of believing in myself and wanting to do it. And that kind of lit me up to get back to it. And yeah, when I did come back the next year, I got my first Supercross win, and then things started clicking. And yeah, like I said, later on in my career is when things started working for me and I started winning and making a name for myself.
And that's something to me, that mental strength, in a way, mate. Like, can you thought us on how do you train a guy for that, or like in this case, Christian's story, like he had to learn by himself and through the obstacles. You know, you're dealing with injury now, and obviously you know what to expect and what to do, but that could have been your career ending, right? The moment you broke your back.
Yeah.
As a trainer, mate, like, how can you manage a young guy like that and make them go back on its feet?
I think, look, everyone's different. And I think it still stems from the inner grit that a person has and belief in their ability in themselves, you know, and not an arrogant belief, but a deep belief that I can do this and I can actually be something in this, you know. So once you have that, obviously training is part of it. That, I mean, you can't ride a dirt bike without practicing a lot on a dirt bike and being cardio fit, and that's what we use the bicycles for, and strength training. But I do believe that those pieces do connect to the mentality when you start to see yourself coping really well with training and racing and riding. That automatically builds up your confidence. And to me, it's a lot about confidence and what you're doing.
But don't you think your confidence totally breaks from an injury? You know,
yes. No, you're down in the dumps after an injury for sure. But you know, thank God you forget. I mean, it's like anything, you know, the body's actually amazing at forgetting, and then the desire comes back, and it goes back to that internal grit. You know, so otherwise everyone would quit after an injury. Look, I think there's more lows than highs, I feel, and especially in this sport. But I think in any high-end sport, when the competition is high and you look at what it took to get there, a lot of people just see the results way down the line, but it's all those pieces of what you did to get there that I think is building you, helping your mentality, guiding you, and then also surrounding yourself with people that believe and help build you up.
That,
you know,
team structure.
Yeah, I mean, if you lack anything, you know, it's going to be a negative piece, and that can determine if you're going to actually make it or probably not.
I feel like with your guys' sport and how moto is racing weekend after weekend, you guys deal with, in 1 week, you guys deal with what a person will deal with maybe in a year or two. And that's week after week, where it could be an injury, it could be bike setup, and it could be that not a good result or not happy with how things
Yeah,
are.
you gotta have short-term memory. You know, like you gotta you take, say you have a bad weekend, you think about it, what you did bad, and learn from it. And then Sunday you forget about it, and Monday you're back on the bicycle and think about the next race. So
I think that's the answer right there.
yeah, and confidence and belief, I think, is in preparation. And you know, you can have all the talent in the world on the dirt bike and be fast, but you still got to put in the work behind the scenes, like what we're doing right now. Bike rides like that all builds the confidence up over the years. Being in the gym, the runs, just being consistent with your motos, being there every day. That's huge for sure.
What Aldon said, having a good team around you. And
Yes.
can you talk to us a little bit on what Paige, your wife, has been throughout the thick and thin of your career? And one of the cool things about the 2022 championship was that you guys experienced that win as a team, truly. And
Yeah.
can you tell us a little bit more what a role she's taken in your career and so on?
My family, my wife.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, she knows when to push me and when to not. You know, so I think that plays a huge part of it. And having a good person by your side to push you through all of it. You know, it starts with the family for sure, but it also is on the trainer side. You know, that's huge. I've always wanted to train with Aldon, and once I got the opportunity at the end of 2022 to do that, I jumped on it. And seeing how many championships and #1 plates he has hanging on the wall, and the stories you hear, it's cool that I got to experience that.
That's cool. And going back to, like, if you get a rider who's obviously have a relationship, a wife, and that could be either a good thing or a bad thing.
Yeah,
Probably
it's
you've
all
dealt with
balanced.
both.
Yeah, I've seen both, where it's sometimes been a hindrance and sometimes where it's been a massive support. So it is that one, you never know how that's going to go, but thank God with Christian, you know, he's got a great support program. Like I said, it's so nice to deal with an athlete that doesn't have all these, I'd say, obscure issues. There's, like I said, the job's hard enough on its own. So, but if you've got, you know, family problems, this, or you've been pulled in all directions, it does affect the way you operate. So from my end, I've got to try and balance out as much as, and obviously my focus is all the training. And you expect the rider to, when he pitches up for training, that all of the outside stuff and home life is in order, you know, because that can make a huge dent in the whole thing. So yeah, there's a lot that goes into it. Yeah.
And obviously when you were growing up, you probably saw Aldon training back then. Was it Reiki early days?
Yeah, I mean,
or?
Villapoto, Stewart's kind of when
Yeah.
when I kind of caught on, you know. So
Did you guys know each other back then?
no, I mean,
Obviously
in passing.
I mean,
you
I
know,
knew of Christian
at the
obviously,
races.
you know, the riders, but I always say you stay in your little bubble with
Yeah.
what you got going on with what riders you got to take care of. So that you know varies, but obviously I knew of Christian, and I obviously knew he came from a good race pedigree. He had talent. The way you've always ridden has been smooth and precise. Almost make it look dang effortless. So I've always known that about you. And then the more I dug into it was also, you know, knowing what you came back from did show me that you've got grit and you can do it, you know. So
That's why I really like you. Really show up to the never ever give up
yeah,
slogan that you put out
Yes.
there.
Yeah, so I mean, I think it's just no matter what, like you deal with the injuries, you just got to keep pushing through it. Like you can't give up that easily. And
Yes.
there's a lot of pieces that got to get put together to win, and it's tough for sure. This is a crazy sport we're in,
yeah,
and you got to be strong.
So obviously this is our first episode, and it would be a time of a question from the fan, since since we don't have
Give me-
fans yet, because it's not out
This
there
is
yet,
new.
there's a question from Anna, my wife, and it is, how do you manage to be a parent and a racer, and also how important has been faith throughout your career, and when did you discover God, and so on?
For sure, the family it's a tough part to balance, because you want to be selfish in your career, especially in our sport. You want to be it kind of focused on yourself. So to turn that switch off when you walk through the door, when you get home, you know, even if you had a bad race weekend, my kid doesn't know. So I've learned to forget about that real quick and be a dad. And then, yeah, the faith. I mean, every weekend we have a chaplain that goes to the races and helps us grow each week. Sundays we're usually flying, so it's tough to go to church every weekend, but luckily we have someone that's at the races, and for sure just grow closer to God.
Awesome. Yeah. Anything else, mate? We're close to the 25-minute mark.
Yeah, no, I think that's covered a lot about Christian, and I just want to, you know, while we're all together here, and yeah, he might be moving on to another brand or whatever, but he is always part of Baker's factory, and obviously the Alcavi brand. So
Yeah, I'm stoked. Got a sweet bike to ride and
Yeah.
train on, and we'll always remember the 2 years with Aldon, and obviously going to keep this partnership going and try to grow this Alcavi brand with you guys. So I'm stoked.
no, and like I said, Christian, we don't want you to become a stranger. You're one of the ones that I
OGs
don't
from
want to
Alcavi.
lose. I don't want to lose the connection, you know. So I appreciate you. We all, you know, loved having you around and look forward to having you around. Maybe not as every day, but still pretty often.
Yeah.
Okay.
So appreciate you guys.
Thank you very much for
Yeah, thanks.
joining on the ride. It was a beautiful day out there. Like, it's not too hot on this summer. I think it's ending. So now, thank you guys. We hope to have a more episode like this, and we look forward to seeing you succeed in the future, Christian, and obviously we'll be in touch. And yeah, thank you for Alcavi Bikes for sponsoring this video, and also Baker's Factory, and yeah, we'll be in touch.
Cheers.